Greetings and welcome to my channel, dear viewers. I hope you're having a great day. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the video. For a rare joint appearance on the red carpet, Jonathan Scott and Zooey Deschanel dressed alike in menswear. At the 2025 SAG Awards, Zooey Deschanel and Jonathan Scott wore matching ensembles, putting their own spin on the traditional tux. The new girl actress and the Property Brothers star continued their black and white fashion trend on Sunday night as they made a rare joint appearance on the red carpet, only days after attending the SNL 50th anniversary party with the celebrity guests. The evening's fashion theme seemed to be menswear, as Deschanel flaunted a stylish ensemble that referenced her fiancé's tuxedo. Although Deschanel and Scott rarely appear together on the red carpet, the actress from 500 Days of Summer drew attention by dressing in a vintage, Parisian-inspired penguin suit for their surprise date night at the award event on February 23. Deschanel wore a floor-length black Giorgio Armani dress with a white tuxedo bib, matching cuffs, and a whimsical giant black bow tie in front, as she cuddled up to her fiancé on the SAG Awards red carpet. Deschanel teased her chocolate hair into a wide fringe and voluminous half-up style, standing in stark contrast to the menswear-coded aspects of the costume. Her signature pin-up makeup, which included porcelain skin, thick black liquid eyeliner, and pink flushed cheeks, gave her otherwise monochromatic appearance a splash of color. Prior to their matched couples outing, Scott seems to have arranged with Deschanel. The reality personality accessorized his cream tuxedo jacket with black slacks, a black bounty at his neck, and a white shirt with black buttons below. The pair last appeared together on February 16 at the SNL 50 celebration, where they wore matching black and white ensembles. While Deschanel wore a sleeveless white patterned dress embellished with tiny black bows and tied at the waist with a black ribbon, Scott chose to wear a traditional black tuxedo with a white shirt. Her festive ensemble was finished with silver bow-inspired earrings and metallic blue makeup. In Property Brothers Season 8, what became to Drew and Jonathan Scott? What happened to the stars of Property Brothers after the final season? The show showcased the twin brothers Drew and Jonathan Scott's talents in home design. Even though Drew and Jonathan have collaborated throughout their lives, it took years of hard work for Property Brothers to become a significant part of the popular culture vocabulary. The brothers, who are identical twins, discreetly grew their empire and became well-known figures in the reality TV world of house restoration. They took their time and carved out a place for themselves among the reality TV personalities who specialize in design and renovation. Although appearances on other reality TV remodeling shows helped Drew and Jonathan gain recognition, their series, Property Brothers, was the main source of their notoriety. Following its success, Property Brothers evolved beyond a television program, with their diversification into other series iterations, some in which Jonathan and Drew collaborated on home renovations, others in which they competed, and others in which they paired up with other designers. The number of shows they were involved in increased significantly. Their personal lives piqued viewers' interest, and they now wonder what transpired after Property Brothers. Drew Scott's post-show activities after the show. Drew, who on Property Brothers concentrated more on the financial aspects of the real estate business, by locating and negotiating the prices of dilapidated houses in need of repair, found himself in a completely different position. Draw's wife Linda Phan, who occasionally appeared on Property Brothers, revealed that she was expecting their first child, which they welcomed in the middle of 2022. Drew has been able to shift his priorities for the benefit of his family by slowing down his business to spend more time with his wife and son, Parker. He and Jonathan are still collaborating on additional projects. Jonathan Scott's activities following Property Brothers. Following his stint on Property Brothers, Jonathan has provided some intriguing life updates, while Drew has been concentrating on starting a family. Since the conclusion of the brothers' first series, Jonathan's life has undergone significant transformation, particularly in recent years. Jonathan and actress Zooey Deschanel met while filming an episode of Carpool Karaoke in 2019. They started dating shortly after her divorce from her ex-husband was made public. Following her divorce, Zooey's friendship with Jonathan gained greater attention, and in 2023, the two declared their engagement. On his Instagram, Jonathan now posts about his life with Zooey and his work with Drew. What caused Property Brothers to disband? After the abrupt conclusion of Property Brothers, Jonathan and Drew moved on, but they still value their experience on the show and have been eager to collaborate again. Property Brothers ended after a lawsuit was brought against the show's production crew, which includes Drew and Jonathan. In addition to anchoring a new series on HGTV called Backed by the Bros, Drew and Jonathan have moved on to other shows, such as Property Brothers, Forever Home. In 2024, where are Drew and Scott? Even though Drew and Jonathan's original home show series, The Property Brothers, hasn't released any new episodes since 2019, the brothers are still producing as much material as they can until 2024. Their most recent series, Celebrity IOU, a house show on Discovery Plus, centers on the brothers assisting a celebrity's friends and family in building their ideal home. In September, the most recent episode of this series was broadcast. They collaborated with a number of famous people, including Brad Pitt, Mandy Moore, Tony Hawk, Zach Braff, and even Jonathan's fiancée Zooey. In addition to working diligently in the house design field, Jonathan and Drew are both doing exceptionally well in their relationships. Zooey and Jonathan are still engaged and thrilled as ever. They hit it up right away when they first met in 2019 while participating in carpool karaoke. Even more recently, Jonathan and Zooey commemorated their 5th wedding anniversary. In the caption of her August 11 Instagram image, Zooey wrote, "Regarding Drew, he remains contentedly wed to his spouse Linda." The couple welcomed their daughter, Piper, in May of this year, bringing their total number of children to 2. For Halloween, Drew, Linda, and their 2 children even donned costumes from Where the Wild Things Are. Drew and Jonathan appear to be in their greatest position since founding the Property Brothers in 2011, as of this writing in 2024. Overnight, they went from being Canadian to becoming famous worldwide, and they have achieved a degree of success in both their personal and professional lives that they most likely never imagined possible. I hope the Scott brothers have even more success in 2025. Will Jonathan Scott and Zooey Deschanel host a show together on HGTV next? After dating for over 5 years, Zooey Deschanel and Jonathan Scott are still together. Their relationship is still going strong after their engagement in 2023, which raises the question of whether they would ever think about working together professionally. Since joining the network with his brother, Drew Scott, in 2011, Scott has been on a number of HGTV programs. It would be ideal for Scott and Deschanel to collaborate on a series of their own, as many couples have shows on the network. Everything we know about a possible HGTV series starring the two can be found by scrolling down. Jonathan Scott and Zooey Deschanel made a TV pitch. Despite the fact that there are currently no formal plans for a program featuring Scott and Deschanel, the Property Brothers actor has undoubtedly considered it. Scott actually disclosed in 2021 that his twin brother actually thought of a way for him and the actress to collaborate on the movie. At the time, Scott told Entertainment Tonight, "Drew really came up with a good concept because Zooey is obsessed with real estate. On the show, Zooey searches the internet, and we locate random houses and renovate them. Naturally, some adjustment would be necessary because remodeling someone else's house might not always be favorably received." Scott, however, noted, "Will anyone refuse if Zooey Deschanel simply approaches their door, knocks, and says, 'Hey, this guy will fix your house if you want it'?" Scott also stated in 2020 that Deschanel is obsessed with design, adding, "Even when she's not looking to buy a house or renovate a house or anything like that, she's always creating Pinterest boards and sleuthing HGTV shows." This makes her seem like the ideal fit for HGTV. Zooey Deschanel and Jonathan Scott's previous television partnership, the pair has previously collaborated. Danels appeared as a guest on the Scott Brothers show, Celebrity IOU, in December 2020. The show allows celebrities to express their deep gratitude for the individuals who've had a major impact on their lives by surprising a loved one with a home remodel. Danels assisted in remodeling her closest friend Sarah's house during her episode. Although Scott commended her for her assistance from a design standpoint, the reality star acknowledged that she dislikes filthy work and loud construction noises when it comes to the actual construction. She even volunteered to help with some of the job personally. It was incredible though, because she set all of that aside to do it because she wanted to give back to Sarah. On a set of a television program, Jonathan Scott and Zooey Deschanel met. In February 2020, Deschanel and Scott co-starred on a carpool karaoke episode. Actually, they got to know one another in August 2019 while filming the piece. Their siblings, Emily and Drew Deschanel, joined them on the show. Deschanel and Jacob Pekenick were married at the moment, but they declared their separation in September 2019 after a few months of separation. The new girl actress was shown holding hands with Scott after it was revealed that she intended to divorce Pekenick, thus announcing their relationship for the first time. Jonathan Scott of HGTV expressed his thoughts about Zooey Deschanel's ex-husband Crystal in a straightforward manner. After several attempts, Zooey Deschanel eventually found her real-life Nick Miller with Jonathan Scott. The actor from New Girl was married twice. Scott is now revealing his true feelings toward one of Deschanel's ex-husbands. After ending her first marriage to Ben Gibbard a few years ago, Deschanel started dating producer Jacob Pekenick. After being married in the summer of 2015, the pair had a daughter a month after saying, "I do." They remained together for a number of years, even welcoming a second child before splitting up in 2019. According to a statement released to the public about the breakup, "After much discussion and a long period of contemplation, we have decided we are better off as friends, business partners, and co-parents rather than life partners." Deschanel and Scott clicked in 2019, the same year she ended her relationship with Pekenick. Pekenick continues to be a part of Deschanel's life, even though the couple's relationship has flourished since then and they even got engaged. He will always be connected to the 500 Days of Summer star because both of his ex-partners had children. The Property Brothers actor has only had positive things to say about Pekenick, despite the fact that a relationship with an ex-husband can irritate some people. Jacob Pekenick's fatherly abilities were commended by Jonathan Scott. Zooey Deschanel's relationship with Jonathan Scott took off when she broke up with her ex-husband, Jacob Pekenick. In September 2019, Pekenick and Deschanel announced their separation, and a month later, she made their Instagram relationship public with the HGTV star. The producer, however, didn't appear to mind the abrupt change in relationships. "Yeah, everything is amicable and we have 2 beautiful children together. We've been raising them and we're going to continue to raise them and take great care of them," Pekenick said in a 2019 interview with Hollywood Life of his relationship with the actor. The HGTV star's connection with Pekenick has also blossomed along with Scott and Deschanel's. In an interview with ET, Scott lauded Pekenick's role as a great father to his and Deschanel's 2 children, Charlie and Elsie, saying, "The kid's dad is a great dad." To demonstrate that there is no hostility between the two, Scott only had to say, "We have an amazing relationship there as well." If the Property Brothers star's statement wasn't enough, there are innumerable other instances that demonstrate how Deschanel, Scott, and Pekenick have formed the ideal blended family. Jonathan Scott is taking on the role of stepfather. Zooey Deschanel and her ex-husband, Jacob Pekenick, had 2 children together, Charlie and Elsie. And since the HGTV star sparked his romance with the New Girl star, Jonathan Scott has become a permanent part of her life, and consequently, a permanent part of her children's lives. "I love it when the kids draw photos," Scott told ET, adding that Charlie and Elsie always make him feel involved. "They sketch Jonathan, Mommy, and Daddy. It's very endearing." Deschanel acknowledges the stepdad role Scott is playing, So it's not just Charlie and Elsie who make sure he feels like a member of the family. 2 years later, this channel featured both Scott and Pekenic again in her Father's Day post, with the caption, "So thankful my kids have these two awesome guys in their lives." At Jonathan Scott and their dad at Jacob Pekenic. In June 2022, the 500 Days of Summer star posted a romantic tribute to the two men in her life, showing Scott with Elsie on his shoulders and her ex-husband Pekenic with Charlie on his. "I'm incredibly grateful for the amazing fathers in our lives. Grandpa Jim, Jacob, Jonathan, and Papa Caleb." According to the appearance of things, everyone is embracing Scott. G.D. Scott, the other brother of the Property Brothers, is who? Jonathan and Drew Scott are twin siblings who became well known as the stars of HGTV's popular Property Brothers series. Their success at the network led them to spin their unique DIY magic into a number of other shows, such as Property Brothers at Home, Buying and Selling, Brother vs. Brother, and the feel-good Celebrity IOU. Those who are true fans of the Scott Bros are likely also familiar with their now-defunct hour-long radio show, Off Topic with the Scott Brothers, their Scott Brothers Entertainment YouTube channel, and the podcast At Home with Linda and Drew Scott, which the spouses co-host. It's possible that even viewers of Property Brothers who have viewed some of those programs, podcasts, and YouTube videos are unaware that the Scott family has a third sibling in addition to Drew and Jonathan. He is the older brother of the HGTV stars and goes by J.D. Scott. However, why don't we hear from him more frequently or, at the very least, witness him joyfully tearing up some old kitchen cabinets with a sledgehammer during one of his younger siblings' numerous home remodeling shows? In actuality, J.D. is more of a single performer with a lot of his own projects going on, even if he is connected to his brother's company. Continue reading to learn more about J.D. Scott, the other brother of the Property Brothers, and to get the inside scoop on this enigmatic Scott sibling. J.D. Scott impersonated famous people. Not all of the time was spent in the background of HGTV with the other Property Brothers brother. In an attempt to establish himself as a performer, J.D. Scott, who was born in 1976, left his home country of Canada and moved to Las Vegas. Scott actually demonstrated a talent for celebrity impersonation, which he developed at the renowned Caesar's Palace. However, Scott worked at the blackjack table rather than on a stage. This is because he was employed at Caesars from 2010 to 2012 as a dealer-tainer, a hybrid of a celebrity impersonator and a blackjack dealer. Scott's LinkedIn profile states that he usually performed 4 to 5 times a day, as either Adam Lambert or David Bowie. If the Black Parade had visited Vegas at that time, Scott most likely would have been a lock for a My Chemical Romance impersonation. Fortunately, Scott was able to keep up the sense of humor needed to voluntarily dress up and play Adam Lambert every day. In addition to being a founding member of YFG, a sketch comedy troupe in his home country of Canada, Scott has also played with the Loose Moose improv group. He established himself in Las Vegas. As everyone knows, the three Scott brothers are from Vancouver, which is located on Canada's west coast. But the Property Brothers cast members and their older brother, J.D. Scott, have lived in Las Vegas for a long time. At one point, Jonathan and Drew shared a house, and later, Drew's wife, Linda Phan, moved in with them. J.D., on the other hand, lived in Vegas as well, but in a separate residence close to his brothers. Since all three of their children resided in the same city, it was much simpler to deal with their parents' frequent visits. The Property Brothers stars didn't spend much time in their 5,400 square foot Vegas mansion, despite the fact that it allowed them to be near J.D. A 2014 New York Times article claimed that Drew only spent roughly 3 weeks of the year there due to their hectic schedules, which, to be fair, gave J.D. little credit, by mentioning him in a single sentence. J.D.'s brothers left Vegas, but he still lived there. Following their marriage, Drew and Linda moved into their own home in Los Angeles. In a similar vein, Jonathan later lived in Los Angeles most of the time, sharing a gorgeous 1938 Georgian-style mansion with his fiancée and new girl star Zooey Deschanel that they had renovated over the course of 2 years. He got married in a crazy Halloween wedding, while his brothers, Jonathan Scott and Zooey Deschanel, and Drew Scott, who married his wife Linda in 2018, are in serious relationships. J.D. Scott has also been in a long-term relationship with Annalie Bell, a model and professional makeup artist. In 2018, the couple's romance reached a new height when J.D. proposed, on Halloween, no less. A few weeks later, Bell posted on Instagram that they were engaged. Bell captioned a picture of herself looking shocked and surprised when J.D. proposed, saying, "I had no real desire to get married until a couple months ago, so it's not like J.D. was scared or whatever people assume. He was just waiting for me. And the proposal was outrageous," she continued. Later, J.D. and his fiancée made an appearance on Property Brothers, Forever Home, a special episode where the twins used one of their trademark makeovers to turn his bachelor apartment in Vegas into a more family-friendly space. The couple were married on Halloween 2019, exactly 1 year after the proposal. The 180 guests were all dressed as their favorite movie characters, and the bride came on horseback, according to People. The groomsmen, who naturally included his siblings, dressed up as characters from the video game Mortal Kombat to finish the theme. He had an unexplained health scare. J.D. Scott started dealing with an unexpected health problem in 2018. In an interview with People, he revealed that he had been battling a crippling and enigmatic illness. Initially, it began slowly. It began with a type of brain fog that would set in from time to time, which made things just a little hazy, he explained. Scott was so worried that he saw a neurologist who performed a number of tests on him and determined that he had allergies. Not enough that I couldn't function, but enough to be annoying. But that was not the case. He started having symptoms that made him think he was having a heart attack after he got home after celebrating his brother Drew Scott's wedding. Constricted chest, numbness in one arm, rapid pulse, pressure in my head, and this strange crawling sensation in my skull, he remembered. He made the hasty decision that he needed to see a hospital. In addition to being abruptly aware of his own mortality, Scott also discovered that he had not left any instructions for his future wife, and Ellie, regarding what to do in the worst-case situation. "I took some time to write out detailed instructions for what to do in case I died that night," he stated. Doctors examined him and found nothing wrong with his heart, but they couldn't figure out what was causing those terrifying sensations. He focused on his health for a whole year. J.D. Scott's symptoms persisted, which at first made him believe he was about to go into cardiac arrest. He really admitted to People that he kept getting testing, but they were unable to provide a conclusive diagnosis that would explain the cause of those crippling symptoms. He disclosed that he would occasionally faint for hours at a time. There has been a rheumatologist, a radiologist, 3 neurologists, a neurosurgeon, an ophthalmologist, countless vials of blood, a half-dozen MRIs, an MRA, an EEG, and during one blood draw they took 25 vials on that day alone, he said. "There were many moments that felt like the end of the line," he said. Scott went to see Dr. Scott Jacobson, a practitioner of both Western and alternative medicine, because he had no other options and no answers. Scott's antibody levels skyrocketed after the doctor performed testing that revealed an illness that affected him similarly to an autoimmune condition. To treat the infection, Scott was told to take antibiotics. He was also instructed to follow a rigorous diet that excluded sugar, gluten, dairy, wheat, and soy. That worked. After following that regimen for a week, Scott felt his health getting better. "I'm not ignorant enough to say I'm cured, but certainly that this form of treatment is having very good results," he stated. J.D. Scott served as the focal point of his own web series. Even though their older brother is much less well-known than Property Brothers stars Drew and Jonathan Scott, J.D. Scott has continued to play a crucial role in their on-screen endeavors. He actually held the position of creative director for their business, Scott Brothers Entertainment, from 2012 until 2014. Among his many responsibilities in that position, JT oversaw the company's social media accounts, hosted the radio program Off Topic with the Scott Brothers, and had on-screen appearances in a variety of digital material. The HGTV web series, Can I Come In? Las Vegas, in which JT gave viewers guided tours of some of the most distinctive residences in Sin City, was one example of that programming. Naturally, JT has also made appearances on HGTV, providing behind-the-scenes web video for the latter, and appearing in multiple episodes of Property Brothers at Home, in addition to Brother vs. Brother. Since JT has also reported from the sets of some of the network's other popular shows, such as Love It or List It,